Hey, welcome back to Spellstorm Miniatures, a show about miniature war games, including War Machine and Hordes by Privateer Press. Our goal here is to inspire you to play more. And my name is Jeremiah.
I'm Dan.
And this is Chad.
And we have a very exciting episode for you folks today. We are going to be continuing our faction reviews. And so today we have two factions that we're going to review, and we do them a very special way here. And I think you'll enjoy the conversation. But before we get there, hey guys, have you played any games?
Played a new fun family game.
Which type of games?
Yeah.
Oh, at this point, it's any game, right?
Yeah. I mean, this game didn't involve any miniatures, but it involved little burritos. It's by Exploding Kittens, called Throw Burrito.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but you pretty much play these cards, and then everyone's playing at the same time. And when someone declares a war, there's like two or more of the players have to grab one of the burritos in the middle of the table and throw it at other people. So
okay, that's where throwing the burrito comes in.
All right.
Nick, like we're bringing this into the store, and Nick or Sadie were telling me about like what it was, and I was like, they're describing like the cards, decks, and the way that works. And I was like, okay, where does the burrito come in? That's what makes that. That's where it comes in. Okay, got it.
Yes, there's two burritos. So when you have so you each have a chance, and there's like a burrito duel, or there's the player to the left and right that plays the war or whatever has to, So yeah, it's interesting when played with younger kids, because when you can throw a burrito at your kid in the middle of the quarantine.
Or when
pretty decent.
Yeah, or when your kid is trying to throw it at your face.
Yeah, it happens quite a
I bet the creators of this game played a lot of hacky sack growing up.
Yeah.
Hacky sack and probably maybe Egyptian rat screw, and they got tired of trying to slap the deck, and they're like, you know what, if I could just throw something at your face.
Oh, man. Dude, I love me some ERS, man. I haven't played that game in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. That's cool. That's a cool game. That sounds fun. Yeah.
It sounds
throwing a
entertaining.
Burrito. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Chad? Any games?
Well, most of my games have been limited to some video games recently, because I just got done being in quarantine for about 10 days or so, and went back to work today. It was nice to get out of the apartment, but I've been playing a lot of League of Legends with some friends, and started playing Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, a couple of days ago. It's interesting.
That's the new drop, right?
Final Fantasy 14 has been out for a little while. It's been out for a long time. Final Fantasy 7 Remake is the one that just recently came out.
That's the new remake. Yeah, I knew they remade it. I just didn't remember which one it was. Yeah,
that one just came out. That one's for PS4. I don't have a PS4, so I didn't get it, but I've heard it's pretty good from a couple of different people. But I also got in on a very beginning of a 5e Eberron D&D campaign that just started last Wednesday. Was our first session. We're playing via Roll20 and Discord for chatting. One of the regular guys that comes into the store to play Magic and buy singles and stuff. He normally plays in a D&D group every Sunday. Is running the campaign, so which is cool. I haven't gotten the chance to play D&D with him at all, let alone like have him be the DM, and it was a lot of fun. I'm playing one of the high elves of the Eberron campaign, which are the Areni, I think, which are the servants, and I'm playing a grave cleric, so I am one of the servants of the Undying Court. And I hate undead, and anything that involves undead is it's bad. It's destroying the circle of life. And when I get to level, the whole idea behind this character is I rolled some pretty good stats, but I ended up with a 7 and a 10 for two of my stats. And so I put the 10 into the intelligence, I put the 7 into the charisma, and I made my guy a cleric of the grave, who was formerly a gravedigger. So he's not very charismatic, but he is wise, and he's got decent strength, dex, and constitution. He's got good constitution. But the whole concept of this is that my spiritual weapon that I summon is going to be a shovel. Because I'm trying to return the undead to the earth where they belong.
That's fair. I dig it. I dig on that.
And, I totally broke an NPC's kneecap on Wednesday because he was talking about trying to make a new type of undead by mixing human corpses with metal materials to make like zombie warforged hybrids. And I was like, as soon as he finishes saying that and I hear him mention new zombie hybrids, I take my mace and I break his knee.
Oh, jeez.
And the DM was like, yeah, that goes against absolutely everything that you stand for. It was like,
that's right.
Not having any of that.
Yeah. Our group is supposed to be rolling with the Roll20. I've missed the last 2 sessions, and so I haven't had the experience on it yet. Is it easy to use?
It's pretty easy to use. The upfront for inputting all of your character information and stuff like that can be kind of tiresome. But one of the things that's really cool about it is if you pull up your character sheet, if you need to make a say a sleight of hand check or something like that, once you get all your stuff input and everything like that, you pull up your character sheet and you go to the skill check that you need to do. And you click on that skill sheet, and it does an automatic roll for you, and it drops it into the text box chat channel for everyone to see what it was, and it tells like what your bonus is, what your result was, so on and so forth. So that way you don't have to worry about like rolling the dice on camera, like rolling your own dice on camera or anything, or like doing the math yourself. It does all the math for you. Same thing with like attacking. Whenever you do attacks, it'll automatically roll the attack and then roll the damage value at the same time, so you can see both of those, which is pretty nice.
Nice. So I've been playing a lot of Dominion Online, and it has 2 text boxes. One where like the players can communicate with one another and send messages or whatever. But then there's like a running text of all the actions that are taking place, because a lot of it happens automatically and you don't know like what do they buy and what's happening. Yeah. It's really nice to follow that. So
and that's basically what the text box is there. It's just a running catalog of all the various roles or information that the DM has dropped in and made visible to you guys. The other thing that's cool with it is that once the DM gets like maps uploaded and things like that, you can actually do Fog of War so that you can only see certain parts of the map and you can explore them and see them as they open up and everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I actually live with people who play games, and so we've been getting a lot of Commander in with the boys and with Addie. And Addie has, we revamped one of her decks, so now she has 2 decks to choose from. Bryce has 2 decks to choose from. I have 2 decks to choose from. Only Oz has one deck to choose from at the moment. But he enjoys the one that he's playing. But we're getting a lot of variety in that way. We've been playing some board games. We played the Mind. It's an incredible game. And then with all 6 of us here, we're enjoying 7 Wonders again with like all the expansions.
Yeah.
And
Seven Wonders is a really good game.
Every time you play, it's different.
Expansions. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had really competitive games this weekend, for our family time, and it was good. So, yeah. Well, this is a War Machine podcast. We're supposed to be talking about War Machine, but we're all in quarantine. I saw someone make a comment on, one of the Discords. They were saying, they haven't played a game in like a month.
It's been a game since I played it's been a month since I played my last game. I don't even know how to do it.
People are like jonesing, Oh, I mean, I'm assuming neither one of you have gotten a War Machine game in.
No, unfortunately, neither of my roommates play that particular miniatures game.
you're gonna have to teach him. That's the whole advantage of being roommates.
Well, one of my roommates isn't interested in miniatures games at all. The other one is interested in miniatures games, but he only has 40K stuff right now.
No,
so
that's
like
fair.
we just haven't busted the popped the table out to play some Kill Team recently. But we might do that. We might do that again here.
Well, Oz and I did get a game in, and he decided to run Helga 2 with 2 of the meat threshers.
Yep.
Yeah,
I hear that's supposed to be fun.
It looks like a really fun list, and it was his first time playing it, and as he tends to do when he plays a list for the first time, not as aggressive as maybe he could be. And so I was able to take one side of the board pretty solidly for scenario play, and I was running Xerxes 2, the list I've been running right before quarantine hit, and
Xerxes 2 or Xerxes 1?
Sorry, yeah, thank you, Xerxes 1.
Okay.
And
because I know you've had stuff for Xerxes 2 Kaiju for a very long time, but I wasn't sure if you were onto that one yet or not.
No, none of my I'm not finished painting that. And so no. So anyway, so we were playing the scenario with the 2 circles and then the brick in the middle, and I can't remember the name of that scenario, and so I was kind of Xerxes 1 was just kind of coming up the middle, and I had Tibby with him, and Oz was trying to finagle in his assassination run, and he wasn't aware of Tibby and all his awesomeness, and couldn't bulldoze him out of the way, couldn't do a lot of things. And
you mean the fact that he's an immovable object and he can't be moved or placed or slammed or pushed?
Exactly. And so he was like, wait, let me see that card. I kept telling him, but he was like, no. So anyway, so he comes in.
The rule you want to pay attention to is called immovable object.
Yeah. But anyway, he comes in and he found a way to get in on Xerxes, but it wasn't very strong. And then he kind of came in behind the objective or whatever. Yeah. And so, and Helga's got, I think when she feats, she can make like a 9-inch move at the end of her activation. And so Helga too had come in to try to get rid of Tibby, I think is what she would try to do, and then gets out of dodge, but didn't realize that it wasn't far enough. And so I was able to, after his failed assassination attempt, I went in top of 3, I think, and put Helga 2 in the dirt. So
she immediately casts Engine of Destruction without spending Fury. Additionally, when friendly faction model in Helga's control range hits one or more enemy models during its activation, at the end of its activation, the attacking model can make a full advance. Cannot be targeted by free strikes during this movement. Lasts for 1 turn. She is speed 7. I think she can.
She gets up +2 somewhere.
Yeah, Engine of Destruction gives +2 speed, +4 strength, and +4 mat.
Yeah.
So she turns into speed 9, mat 11, and then a POW 18 on her spiked bat, and a POW 15 chain weapon on her bike chain.
Yeah. Oh, he thought he was ready to go, but thing is
I would say that.
Yeah. Thing is I think it's a pretty sweet list. If and I think he could have played both meat threshers more aggressively than he did.
Yeah.
And then I think it would have been more of a game for him. So but it was fun to get models on the table, and we almost did another game today after school, but I say school in air quotes because everyone is
say school. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
homeschool.
So the school district, they sent out Chromebooks for all the students, and cool. And now Laura is working from home, and so she's in the backyard working on her laptop on the park bench in the backyard. Yeah. I'm in our bedroom working, got the phone calls. All 6 of us in our own private location in the house behind a screen today. doing work. Like, yeah.
That's that's what everyone has been talking about being afraid of. Everyone's disconnected and at
Yeah.
home and staring at a screen, but
but like, how do you do school otherwise?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
the trade off is that the trade off and the realization is that right now with everything that's going on, that's what needs to happen. And honestly, it's better. Like it's better if kids can still get some sort of school or class work and stuff like that right now. That's important, especially with school being canceled like to the end of April. A lot of school districts I think are talking about canceling for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, they're done. They're not
It
going
is.
back.
It's been announced because the stay home till May, and then
Okay.
it's 2 weeks is not worth it.
I don't have kids, so I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
How rude!
Oh man, it was pretty nice 10 days in quarantine in my apartment with no kids.
Yeah, I bet that was pretty nice. Yeah. No, I don't know. To be fair, like the family's doing well. Like we're getting along.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to be fair, you guys love your
we're doing all right. So we're but yeah, I still got an email from one of his teachers today. So you gotta whip Oz into shape, man.
Oh man, Oz, you're at home in your pajamas with a computer, with your own personal computer, and you still you're still being lazy, man.
Nah, he's good. It was a different issue. I was just trying to be funny.
Oh.
Hey, why don't we get on topic? How about that?
Yeah.
So today we wanted to continue our faction reviews.
Yeah.
And
which factions are we talking about?
The next two, Retribution and Grymkin. And for our listeners, if this is your first time listening to us, when we do our faction reviews, we basically ask 3 questions. Yeah, if you were to pick up this faction for the first time, which Warcaster or Warlock would you play first? Which theme force looks the most interesting to you? And then which model do you want to paint the most? And so we usually start with the War Machine side, and then we move over to the Horde side. So Retribution is up first. Who wants to dive in?
Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, all right. Start me off. All right. So Retribution is kind of the Pointy Elves had some cool features with their shields when I first was looking, but swayed towards Signar. Earlier cast talked about that. Got the free starter. But one actually that I saw that was a neat looking model was Kalissa, the Knight's Whisper.
Mm-hmm.
And without even knowing really what she does, just the model looked kind of neat and kind of a cool name. So I kind of I'm swaying towards her as my ret pick.
Okay.
As far as who I would play and what I would paint are actually going to be 2 different things, ironically. But the caster I decided to go with is an oldie but a goodie, been around since the beginning of the faction and has been notorious for headhunting, is Raven, the Eternal Light. If you are not familiar with Raven's name, you are probably familiar with what she does in her list, which is snipe, feet, go. And that's what she does. She's been notorious for being an excellent assassin enabler. She has snipe on her feet, as well as some other really cool tools to help her battle her army get to dangerous places for opposing casters. And then her feat is while in Raven's control range this turn, friendly faction models gain boosted attack and damage roll, boosted ranged attack rolls, and Swift Hunter. So her and a couple units of Mage Hunter Strike Force are usually a death sentence for a lot of warcasters. And she's been dropping people dead since Mark II, and still doing it in Mark III. If I don't know how much you guys have paid attention to, well, I guess you guys are still pretty new to the game. So are you familiar with a quick aside, little history thing about this caster? Are you guys familiar with the old format that used to be in existence called Hardcore?
Yes, I didn't know. Big
Ooh.
circle scrum in the middle.
Yeah, so hardcore was a single scenario, single list, fully painted, timed turns format. It used to be a highly competitive format, and it was King of the Hill. Basically, there was a zone in the middle of the table. It was a circular zone in the middle of the table, and if your warcaster or warlock was not inside that zone, you actually took damage and like couldn't and got grievous wounded if you were outside of the zone, like at the end of your turn, starting on like the second player's turn or something like that.
Wow.
There were various achievements for this. The number one was like it was like best record overall, or like no, it was the winner overall, and then there was like the destroyer, which was like most points destroyed, and then the other one is called Mage Hunter, which is least models killed. And a perfect score, because it's usually ran over 3 rounds, a perfect score is 0, which means you killed 0 other models other than the defending warcaster or warlock. So,
Oh, okay.
Privateer Press discontinued this format a couple of years ago. And the last couple of years at Lock and Load leading up to this event, I think it was the last 3 years, a local man in Washington named Andy Padell won the Mage Hunter award at Lock and Load 3 years running, including the final year with a perfect score. And he did it playing Raven every single time.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So Raven's got a flavor.
Raven, she's got a reputation of being a nasty headhunter. Like between her and Ron, they're probably 2 of the best assassins in the entire game, and they're both in Retribution.
That's crazy. Yeah. Retribution is like, I like the idea of Retribution, but I don't know. I can never really get into it, and so this was actually one of the harder factions for me to go through and answer these questions for. And so I kind of so I guess I went with the easy pick. If I were to pick up this faction, the warcaster I would play first would actually be just Helena, which is the one that's in the starter box. So
she's a pretty solid caster. She's a really good starting.
Well, I like some of this stuff. I like the rhythm of war, giving the 3 inches on friendly models, and I mean all these things like inner battle group, and the feat looks good, and there's some some repair actions if you're gonna play heavy on the jacks, which I would like. I don't know. So there's some stuff there that I like.
Her feat is super solid too.
Yeah.
Like it's a really good feat to be able to get workout, and then also like if you've taken an alpha strike, because it refills your shield generators and then it makes it so that you're not affected by crippled systems. It gives you a turn of effectiveness in case you got hit really hard with the feat with an alpha strike, and then it also gives a +3 armor buff for a round on top of it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when you think about like each faction sort of has like their thing. And when I think about Retribution, I think about the force fields that the models have. And it's like, why not just lean into that a little bit more? And so if I were to play this faction, that's one I would just start there. So
so Dan, you picked Kalissa. Which theme force would you want to be playing her in?
Well, Kalissa is since she's a Mage Hunter Warcaster, we're going to go with a Mage Hunter theme of Shadows of the Retribution.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's again mainly because she has some cool features to her to help deliver that I'll go further and we talk about the list, because I realize I didn't talk about her much, but she definitely helps her army out.
Yeah. Well, and her feat is also really good because it's a good time walk denial feat of don't get anywhere close to me.
Yeah, basically it's within her control range. Friendly faction models gain stealth and cannot be charged or slam power attacked.
Yep.
So against those rangy teams, I just kind of go, oh hey, I'm over here.
Yeah. I always forget. Is she a focus 6 or a focus 7?
7.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's the other thing about Retribution is a lot of them have a little bit better than average focus stat for the warcasters.
Yeah.
She totally seems like she would only be a 6, considering like how powerful her feat is, how powerful her ranged weapon is, but she's actually a 7.
Yep.
Did you have a list or kind of a rough idea of some stuff you'd put into a Shadows list?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess since we're there. Yeah. Sorry. It's kind of that late, kind of getting into it. It's like,
No
oh yeah,
worries.
let's go into the list while we're here. So that's right. The third thing is painting, not a list. So I took a little different approach on this. Since I don't have the cards in the database, I was like, what free list can I make? And she was a free card, so that also kind of played into it. But put her with a Hydra, mainly because he's big and beefy and kind of neat. 3 Griffins and 2 Chimeras, just kind of the little bit of a light swarm there, because the Griffins can get pretty far, and then when Kalissa has her Phantom Hunter, which is kind of an interesting one too, where target model and spellcaster's battle group ignores line of sight for making charges and attacks, and ignores concealment and cover and stealth when resolving those. So you could either give that to your Hydra for the shooting, or maybe a Griffin to be able to charge a little further than you would think.
Yeah, or charge through a forest too.
Exactly, getting through forest or so forth. Exactly. So he has Pathfinder and all. So that's kind of a fun one. The Chimeras mainly because the Arc Node. And then again, they're just kind of cheap. They can combo strike and get higher defense with their focus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice.
Well, and they have apparition too, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. They have apparition, so you can start getting them into places. They're speed 6, so you have pretty good distance there. And then she has back. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the apparition is also really good if you get jammed up. It's a great. Oh, I disengage and then I'm just gonna run this arc node where I need it to be.
Precisely. So you can get some places, and she doesn't really have much offensive spells. I think her only offensive spell pretty much is backlash, which is the main part of some of her. She really doesn't like Jax too much, because between getting backlash on there, so hey, I start shooting you up or hitting you and you're taking damage, it means your warcaster's dying. But she has mechanical seizure as a attack type, along with dispel and energy siphon. So with that and reload 2 and true sight, you can really start hitting Jax or slowing them down, and then pop them with a backlash, and all of a sudden they're not very happy. Then
and if you also mix it with the Mage Hunter Strike Force, they have Jack Hunter.
Yep, exactly. Of course, 2 units of Mage Hunter Strike Force are on there. And part change I would make if, like I said, making it on the free card list, but would be get rid of like a Chimera Griffin and add some of the Mage Hunter Strike Force Commander and Soulless Escort, just to further punish, like, oh, the Soulless Escort, that's -5 to your magic range, and I can dispel effects. Plus they have stealth, plus the feed on there, and then the Strike Force Commander gives them blessed, so now they're gives them magical. So now they're magical, blessed, pathfinding, stealth, CRA, CMA, Jack Hunters. So they're gonna, if they can start getting on you, that's the backlash. Then I threw Scythe in there because, well, Scythe is just mean.
she's super sweet.
Yes, exactly. She's just good. Plus Tree Walker.
Say no more.
Plus her run and gun. And again, if you get that backlash on there, she might get 4 hits off her Weapon Master 10. So she can punish there. Iris, Mage Hunter of Ios. Tossed her on there. Again, just a great ranged, deadly shot, disruption bolt, Phantom Seeker. I mean, she has some fun things with her, and she'd be a good one for refuge. So Kalissa could put refuge on her so that she can now move up 7 if she has to, shoot 12, and then move back 7. So she can keep pretty safe. And then 2 Void Archons, because Void Archons are also just super sweet looking. Plus the sprays and Entropic Force. So if you really need
an armor debuff.
Yep, plus the armor debuff of Dark Shroud if you really need to get them in there. Problem is then they're going to be engaging unless you stationary them with the with the disruptor bolt or the mechanical seizure off of Kalissa, then all of a sudden they're stationary at a minus armor, so you're definitely going to be dealing some damage. It just seemed like a very kind of shooty list, running around. You have a little bit of melee you can engage. You can deliver them with the added benefit of stealth, which the mage hunters already have, but most of them actually already have stealth, which is funny, but it's just it's stealth upon stealth for like the Void Archons or your Jacks, and the fact that they can't get charged is going to help keep them back away. So
the stealth really kind of helps you on the turn 1 approach, and then the feat, the anti-charging feat, really helps you on that turn 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can really get where you want to be on the board.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my list of fun there.
I like this. I think each one of us are going to be choosing something very different.
I also picked Shadows because I was playing Raven, the ultimate assassin. You know, she needs the best assassin. The other best assassins, and you know, double strike force. I didn't build a list because I wasn't really sure exactly, but double strike force are in there. One of the heiresses either attached to as a unit attachment to one of the units of strike force, or heiress 1 is really good for setting up those assassinations, helping ensure that you're putting people in the dirt, especially because she is partisan, so she becomes friendly faction, so her Rat 9 becomes boosted, and if you use the Arcane Hemorrhage and you knock all of the focus off, well, it just makes shooting them to death that much easier. A couple Void Archons to help out with the damage output, probably some Spears of Syra, because Raven usually likes to play a little bit far forward. She's pretty formidable herself in melee because she's got all of the rules in the world. She's got dual attack, quick work, Snapfire, Swift Hunter, and Sprint, I think. I think she's got pretty much all of the rules for moving around based off of whatever your attacks are.
She's got all the things.
She has dual attack, quick work, sprint, Swift Hunter. I'm sorry, quick work. Yeah, quick work. No Snapfire. But like the dual attack, quick work, sprint, and Swift Hunter are super good because you could like charge in, stab, kill somebody, quick work shot, kill somebody else, Swift Hunter move 2 inches off of that, and then get into melee with somebody else. And she's a range 12, POW 12 gun, and she's a POW 13 weapon master on her melee attack, and she's got 2-inch melee, and she's MAT 7, RAT 7. So she's incredibly formidable, both in melee and at ranged. And she's also got Thresher too, so she could even like charge in, Thresher a couple of guys, kill some. Like if she kills them and gets, or I guess even if she's still engaged, she has dual attack, so she could, charge in, kill a bunch of guys, shoot somebody in melee, and then potentially Swift Hunter from that, and then move and buy attacks and stuff. So she's crazy. She has countermeasures, locomotion, open fire, snipe, and Veil of Mists are both in there. So Veil of Mists, you can put a 4-inch AoE down, and then you basically get to move through enemy models while you're inside that AoE, so you can like get through lines or get into weird places. So it would be a lot of kind of getting where your opponent doesn't expect. Always having that threat of their caster just getting assassinated by Snipe Feet Go and a bunch of Mage Hunter Strike Force.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is Retribution is hard for me to like to get my brain around. Like every time I play Michael Burks, I just get carved up, you know what I mean? And so
he makes some mean lists too.
Yeah. When I was looking around on War Machine University and just trying to figure out kind of what list I wanted to make, I found the thing that I wanted most, I guess. And there's a real thing out there, and it's nicknamed the Pacific Rim list. And that's so I put Helena in Forges of War. We've got Helios, 2 Hyperions. So we got 3 Colossals coming at you.
The drawback is you don't get to take advantage of Rhythm of War.
And we got, well, I know, we got Silas there to help with some that would keep on one of Helena's spells and whatnot.
Yeah.
3 Arcanist mechanics, 2 House Shail Arcanists, and one of them has a Soulless Escort, and that's the list. That's it.
Yep.
So it's all about keeping those guys alive, repairing them, and
loading
getting
them up
them in
with
position.
focus.
Yeah. And Helios has has dual attack, and he's got a tractor beam, so he can, which instead of causing damage, a model hit by the attack can be pushed up to 3 inches in any direction.
Yeah.
And so just the fact you can go any direction, I just feel like I can play with some things.
Yeah.
And
well, that's also what Helena's melee and ranged attacks both have on them too.
Oh yeah, so I just be throwing people around all kinds of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So anyway, and what's so cool about those Colossals is they look Pacific Rim-y.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I love giant monsters, giant robots, and so why not? So that's where I went. And having a low model count is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, so how about this, guys? How about which model would you want to paint the most?
Ooh, see that one's a little bit more tougher for me anyway. Like personally, a lot of the jacks they're kind of neat, but they're not as appealing. Like they seem like a simpler design, kind of more alienish.
Yeah.
So I would probably almost as bad as it sounds. I mean, Scythe seems like a more fun one to paint, but she's technically like a minion. I know. But I guess
was she partisan?
She is
partisan.
Well, that counts, right?
Yeah, I know, kind of.
Hey, my Khador list counted as a Khador list, right? There was a Khador caster.
Right. There was one Khador guy in there. But I mean, overall, like so there's kind of some neat ones, but I think some of the irises are kind of fun. Or I mean, I could just kind of cop out, I guess, and go with Kalissa being the Warcaster, and like I said, a neat poster.
Okay.
So there, my first 30 millimeter, I think that I said to paint.
The Warcaster or the model I'd love to paint would probably be Gareth too. He's a really cool model. The art on his card is super great, and he's but I would love to mod him so that he was in the like ready fire position like the ghost snipers are, where he's like down on one knee and has the rifle propped up, and then paint him like that, and then maybe do some sort of like a cloak or something like a cloak on the ground around him or something, like he just popped up out of cover after taking one shot and he's like about to start moving again or something. Yeah, Gareth 2 would be super cool. When I first saw Retribution, I really didn't like the way that the jacks looked, and then over time they've kind of grown on me a little bit. But I would have a hard time figuring out what to do all the smooth, kind of organic flat surfaces. Like I feel like I would have a lot of trouble figuring out a color that I would really be happy with.
Exactly
for the jacks.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I think
I have seen some really cool Tron-inspired paint schemes where it's like dark, glossy, like black, glossy, flat surfaces, and then they've got all those great rune lines and things like that in like the Warjacks and also a lot of the armor, and have that brightened up in like blue or yellow or orange or something, or like I've seen some cool conversions with that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I have the same sentiment, I think, about the jacks. What's interesting is the more I look at them, the more they seem to grow on me. But I actually chose a small base model for the first time as well, Dan. And just because I think Gorshade 4 looks boss. And
he's not a small base model, though.
Oh, he's not, is he?
He's on a medium.
He is on a medium.
He's a 40 millimeter.
Oh, my record is still clean then.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he is. He is a medium. Look at that.
He's a tall elf.
Yeah. So, but I just think he
was a medium in Cricks too until he went
so good
until Shade 3.
Yeah, he just looks so good. And that big old sword, and and the with the cape, and swaying, and whatever that thing is behind his shoulders. Like there's just looks
it's
like
part of his it's part of his
yeah, what do you call that
turbine?
though?
It's part of his arcantric turbine.
Arcantric turbine. There we go. Yeah, he just looks good, and so I'd paint that. So, well
on to something else that goes bump in the woods. We're on to Grymkin.
Oh, jeez. I'll go first on the questions this time. If I were to play Grymkin, the very first warlock I would put on the table is Old Witch 3, because I love that model.
The model's super cool.
and there's a little Khador love there.
Yeah, you used to play Khador.
Yeah. How about you guys?
No, I was gonna say Old Witch is a pretty good one. I was a little torn. If you would asked me a while ago, I think Dreamer would have probably got it, but King of Nothing, the more I kind of hear and the little wacky shenanigans he has, seems appealing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I used to actually play Grymkin competitively when they first got released, and for about 6 months afterwards, I played them competitively. I actually took them to Attack X and played in Champions with Aaron Allen, and we actually played against each other in the semifinal round, and I ended up taking 4th place, I think.
Nice.
And I was playing Child and Heretic. And those were the first 2 ones that I played. They were also like basically the only ones available at the time, because the rest of the stuff hadn't been released yet. I'm torn because I enjoyed playing Child and Heretic a lot, but Nathan, one of our regulars, has a Wanderer list that has a couple of the Grave Ghouls in it that has just a lot of really interesting mechanics, some really interesting overlays and things like that, with messing with your opponent's accuracy. That looks like a really fun and annoying list to play. So I think, and Wander during the playtesting, during the playtesting, the Wanderer was actually the one warlock that I was the most excited about. And then by the time he got released and I kind of got around to playing him, he wasn't really the play style that I wanted to play. He didn't really fit me very well. But he's one of the strongest warlocks in the faction. And so I would try playing him. He's very good at being basically in the middle of the table and extremely hard to kill, which is kind of right up my alley a lot of times. Like, I like getting in the middle of the table and having a warlock that can be threatening and do some work. His drawback is if he was Fury 7, if he was Fury 7 and not Fury 6, he would be insane. But he's already like, that's kind of one of his big drawbacks, is that he's only Fury 6, and there's a lot of stuff he wants to do with his Fury every turn, and he just doesn't have enough to go around.
See, the Grymkins always seem to have a large Fury stat. I mean, maybe because of me being a Trolls player, I'm just a little jealous that, like, Madrak has Fury 5.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, so
Xerxes only has 5.
See, Child. Child is Fury 7, so never mind.
Yeah, that's right. King of Nothing's 8. So
yeah. Well, yeah, Wanderers. Yeah, and I guess I was thinking that Child was like a 6 or a 5, but I was wrong. Child, Heretic, and Dreamer and Old Witch are all 7s. Wanderer is a 6. King of Nothing is an 8.
Yeah. So they have a bit of fury.
Yeah. So what theme force would you want to play, Jeremiah? Would you want to play Bump of the Night?
No, Dark Menagerie.
Dark Menagerie?
Yeah.
Brick.
Yeah. That's I like some of the beasts in Grymkin very much.
All the clockatrices.
Sans clockatrice. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I liked them, but I really like the original stuff that came out. I just I don't know. There's really some cool things there. So
Yeah.
I came up with a list for Old Witch, and basically it's just things I like and double them up is basically what I did. So it's not a very like
it's Zavanna's Arc.
it's yeah. So here we go. So 2 Cage Ragers, 2 Krabbits because they come in pairs, 2 Frightmares, 2 Gorehounds, 2 Skin and Moans, and then 4 Gremlin Swarms because I just love them, and then a unit of Dreadrots, more for some screening just in cases, and I'll explain that because one thing I did not include in the list, which a lot of folks will put in, is a Death Knell, because the Death Knell helps to deliver your beast brick. But Zavanna's got a lot of just good stuff, good tech.
Yeah.
That goes that can actually help with that, and so I made the trade-off of no Death Knell, more beasts, and so I was like, so what do I do with kind of this extra amount of points thrown around, and so just run the Dreadrots out there, just to run them out there, and then and then I had 5 points left over, which was the hardest. And honestly, to be honest, I think it was 7 points actually. It was the hardest 7 points I've ever had to like figure out. And so I just threw a Hermit in there, and like, but that still leaves me 2 points short. And I was just like, it didn't feel. I feel like I should have messed up both. I should have broken up the arc. And
did you pay for the Gremlin Swarms?
I did not pay for the Gremlin Swarms. I did not pay for the Krabbits. Yeah.
Okay.
So
wait, what was your beast loadout?
2 Cage Ragers, 2 Krabbits, 2 Frightmares, 2 Gorehounds, and 2 Skin and Moans.
Okay.
It's like all of them except for the Clockatrice.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I missed that there were 2 of each of the heavies. I was like, where are all your points, Jeremiah? You've only got 2 Cage Ragers and a bunch of lights in. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do with that last 7 points. And I thought about, okay, taking out the Dragons, and then I have 12 points, and then I can. But I really felt like having as a screening unit in there could be cool, and I don't know, give him balance charge for 1 turn to get him in there, and I don't know. So I don't know.
I would swap the Hermit for Lady Carrie on a Rose.
Oh, okay.
Because she has Enrage.
Yes.
And then if she gets killed, all of your stuff gets +1 to hit, +1 damage.
She makes a great trap too if you just kind of put her out there and like Garden Flag and like, oh, I'm gonna kill her so you don't score. Oh,
and I think she's only 4 points, which would give you 3 points left over. Which, if you can take a Trapperkin and Dark Menagerie, that's your other 3 points. Might be Gremlin Swarms, Glimmer Imps.
How much is Baron Tonguelix for? Never mind. Let's say.
Yeah. What else is 3?
Yeah, you could play around with it.
You could. No, Glimmer Imps are 4.
What I was gonna say is, even without the Death Knell, it's one argument nowadays with the scenario the way it is you're kind of got to spread out. You can't just brick up against that Death Knell all the time anymore and expect to play a great scenario game. So it almost benefits you.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. And the fact that I did not put in a Clockatrice, I don't know what that makes me, but
doesn't make you a chicken, that's for sure.
But,
oh my goodness. What just happened?
Well, what about you, Dan? Bump in the Night or Dark Menagerie?
Went with Bump in the Night. Yeah. Little scary. I mean, Dark Menagerie again does have its fun appeals, but with King of Nothing, really want to try to take advantage and get like some Madcaps, Grave Ghouls, Malady Man for rec points, because again, Malady Mans are just pretty awesome.
They're a good way to get your army up the field, and then he's got his Burning Ash to be able to help.
Exactly. Between Burning Ash, you can get those clouds up. You can do Host of Shadows, so you get Ghostly if you're in his control. Anyway, so I'll finish out some of it. Double max Nayslayers with the Warhorse. Again, because the Nayslayers with the Warhorse, especially now, are just really great. They can get a lot of work done. Charging in.
I can't wait to see what the 4 horsey mans.
Yeah,
I mean, we've already seen what they do, but that's gonna be interesting how it get implemented.
I have to add that in.
Yeah.
All
the horsies.
And then Scything Touch on them. They may not need it. It might not help all that much, but that could just be that extra little bit in there.
Well, even Scything Touch on something else.
Yeah,
like you put Scything Touch on something else, and then you get in there like a heavy or.
Yeah, so run with like a couple Crabbits, and then I was kind of playing around with the Beast loadout because Cage Ranger is kind of nice. The Skin and Bones is always nice in there, or maybe a couple Gorehounds to just add that extra harassing in there.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it has a lot of more flexibility on really where I'd want to go, and I didn't have a clear vision kind of there. Just like what's some of the fun toys to play with that are in bump with there. Not to mention, not fully sure if it'd work, but Malady Man, like right, he sticks out his monkey or whatever, or that's the organ grinder, whatever. Is and some of the, or even the Madcaps. That's what I'm thinking. And they create. Then King of Nothing has his what is it called?
Sands of Fate.
Sands of Fate. That's what. Yeah, already know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So you RFD
I've played
living super model. Yeah, and then you get to place the King of Nothing somewhere. So you could either use that to get real aggressive, or you keep one back a ways. He gets really aggressive, and then Sands of Fate's 12, 13 inches back the field, or what
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, hey, see you later. And you just lost the Madcap, which who cares? Kind of, you're just going to make some more Madcaps, right?
Yeah, or the Caskimps.
Yeah, or the Caskimps would work as that too. And so
the Caskimps are the ones you don't care about. The Madcaps are the ones that you want still alive.
Yeah. Well, depending on who you're going against, as long as you're not against a befuddle target, or Fiona or something like that is going to mess your day up.
Yeah.
But so that's what I was kind of just looking at. Nayslayers just really get in there, and then like I said, Madcaps wreak some havoc. King of Nothing just between Burning Ashes, Host of Shadows, Scything Touch, Sands of Fate. Just he has options for doing some different fun things.
Yeah.
If it's strong, I don't know, but it could be fun on the table.
The tough part with building Bump in the Night lists with Cage Ranger in it is you almost have to put a Death Knell in, because otherwise it's really hard for your Cage Ranger to get the corpse tokens and then become an arc node. Whereas in Dark Menagerie, all of your stuff that can have corpses start with corpses, or all of your beasts that can have corpses start with corpses. Your beasts and your Death Knell, which those Cage Rangers need really badly. And Speed 4 makes it difficult for them to like charge in, kill something unless you've got some of their speed buff.
Yeah, that'd be a good point. Now, could you just hit your own Caskimp?
Nope, it's enemy.
Ah, darn it. Yeah, I can remember. So Chuck.
If your Caskimp dies, then your Death Knell collects the corpse, but the corpse collection is still only off of enemies.
So I don't think it'd work so well. So you toss in like a couple Clockatrices and a couple Gorehounds just for some maneuverability. And a couple Crabbits, of course, because you need some shield guards.
Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you very much do. I didn't build a list for it, but I know that the Wanderer list I think was handful of beasts, a couple of Gorehounds because they're super good with Wanderer. The Skin and Bones is also really good with the Wanderer because its Animus is Bushwhack, which means that you get Pathfinder for one, which I think actually he has Pathfinder innately because he's the Wanderer. Of course he is. But Bushwhack allows you to make your ranged attack before your movement. So you can, if you haven't played against a Wanderer, at the end of every single one of his turns, you put 3 crossroad markers down within his command range, fully within his command range. At the beginning of your turn, you can place him on one of those road markers. So generally what you do is you put one of them out in front of you where you would want him to be on the next turn. So at the beginning of your turn, you place him on the forward one. You use the Bushwhack ability on yourself. He gets to cast into enemies for free. And then he has a spray 10 with his lantern that has it gives -2 defense, and then it also gives Hunter's Mark, Beacon. So you hit an enemy model or a couple of enemy charge, and then because you have Bushwhack, you can make your spray attack, and then you can advance your 6 inches back to safety. And then you push your army in, cast your what's the name of the spell? I'm totally blanking on it right now. Just a second. Starcrossed. He's the other Starcrossed.
Oh, yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, so you cast your Starcrossed, and then you've got like a couple units of Knave Slayers, like maybe a couple units of Dreadrots, or a unit of Hollow Men are really good with a couple of Grave Ghouls, because the Hollow Men get killed, Grave Ghouls collect the corpses, which they can use to force enemies to re-roll either attack or damage rolls on top of the Starcrossed, so you make everything just super hard to hit. And then the thing that's really cool with the Hollow Men is that their ranged attacks have blood bond, so if they kill enemy models, they can return models to play. So you can just kind of keep this engine going of like constantly making it difficult for your opponents to hit your stuff while you're winning the attrition game. And most of the time Wanderer is only sitting on like 2 or less fury, but because of his trump card being able to place him, transfer once for free and place himself on a road marker if he gets damaged, he's incredibly difficult to assassinate. And he's naturally a 15/15 with Starcrossed and a transfer and a trump card. He's one of the most difficult casters to kill in the game.
Yeah.
And he also has Veil of Mist. I didn't notice until right now. He's got Fog of War, Repudiate, Starcrossed, and Veil of Mist. The other thing that's actually really fun and interesting with Repudiate playing in Bump of the Night is you can take Lord Longfellow for free. And so if your enemy Warcaster or Warlock has any upkeeps, if you cast Repudiate and hit an enemy model unit with an upkeep on it, you dispel it, and then the controlling caster takes D3 damage, which turns on the Headhunter ability for Lord Longfellow. So he gets boosted damage rolls he becomes a weapon master against damaged models. And then he has the Fortune Hunter, so he gets boosted attack and damage rolls. He has Finisher, so gains an additional die on damage rolls models, which Repudiate can trigger. And then Fortune Hunter, he gains an additional die on its attack and damage rolls against character models. So if you can Repudiate something and hurt their Warlock or Warcaster, now suddenly Lord Longfellow is Speed 7, Rat 7 with 3 dice to hit and boosted Weapon Master POW 10s.
And he gets 2 of them because he's dueling pistols.
Gunshots, and he can do a lot of damage. And he has Black Penny. So
just because
he's the ultimate. He's like one of the ultimate assassins.
He is a good one. Yeah.
I don't know how much of the lore about Grymkin and stuff that you guys know, but there's a lot of really interesting lore about where how these characters or those beings like came into existence. And Lord Longfellow is interesting. He's basically Lord Longfellow is this spider dressed up as a person, and he goes around to the balls of like corrupt barons and politicians and things like that, people who have like exploited the people underneath them, the people under their rule, and they basically challenge whoever it is to a duel, which they will win because it's Lord Longfellow. If they decline or they refuse, Lord Longfellow slaughters everyone at the party except for the corrupt person. And then I don't know if if it's like something kind of like with the magic of Lord Longfellow, but then all the people that are killed at this party, their deaths all get blamed on the corrupt person.
Yeah, that's lore I didn't know.
Yeah,
I think the best part about that is it's a spider dressed up as a human.
Yeah. He's even wearing a little mask.
Yeah.
Maybe when we're done,
boots on.
maybe when we're done with these faction reviews, we can do some lore episodes. That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I know a lot about a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
And I've listened to the podcast that the Crucible did. They did a handful of lore podcasts that were all really cool and interesting that go over a lot of really
I
cool
like
stuff.
the world and I like the lore and
I really like the lore of the
Grymkin. Little I do know anyway.
I got super into the Grymkin because I was really interested in them when they came out. They were one of the first factions, one of the first like new release mini factions that I got into day one, basically, and I was super hyped for them.
That's pretty cool.
They're really cool, and they've got a lot of really interesting lore. The warlocks are all in the story are all called Defiers, and the origins of all those different Defiers are all very interesting and very unique.
Yeah. So then I guess the last question to ask is which model you want to paint the most?
Yeah.
Would you want to paint one of the Defiers?
Yeah, actually one of my favorite models to paint, mostly because it's a cool model, and then also because of the theme that I did for him, was the Heretic. A brief background: the Heretic. So back in the early days of the Iron Kingdoms, when Menoth came to Kane, the plane of existence, to bestow the gifts to his followers, civilization, walls, law, order, all of this other stuff. He's the creator of man, and he bestowed these gifts, the gifts of Menoth, onto humankind. Heretic was a priest, basically a high priest of Menoth, who felt himself equal to Menoth's power as a priest and in magical power and stuff like that. But he saw Menoth's gifts not really as gifts, but as ways to enslave the people. And he lashed out against Menoth and said, "You may be a god, but you are not better than us. I am your equal. Like, I have equal power to you." And for that, he was cast into the deepest layer, into like basically into the 7th level of hell, of Urkane, for all tortured existence. And so, like, if you look at his model, he's got his staff of the sun, and then he's holding up a mask that, if you look at the Protector of Warcasters, they all wear a golden mask over their face to take on the persona of Menoth as the golden-faced god. And so he's holding up his mask in defiance, saying, like, "You are not better than me. I am just as strong as you, just as powerful as you." And so, like, I actually painted my mask to be that golden faceplate, and I did the same thing with the child. When I painted her, there's a little mask over the top of the monster that's there. I painted that gold so that they would all be mockeries of Menoth.
Wow. Huh.
And I actually painted my Heretic in the color scheme that I used to use for my Protector, which was I used Khador red base for the cloak. I used white, Menoth white highlight for the armor, gold for all of the like edging and everything, and then I put it a sepia wash, the Griffin sepia wash over top of it. And so, like, the water, or the armor looked kind of like bone and weathered. The gold took like kind of a bronze tarnished gold look, and then the cloak became very like sanguine blood red, pretty much.
Nice. Yeah. How about you, Dan? Which would you want to paint?
That's pretty neat. Yeah.
What would you want to paint, Dan? Is it Old Witch 3?
No, sorry, my audio was like cutting in and out. No, I would actually say, I mean, it'd be a cheap out, but the Gremlin swarms are pretty neat. But to not cop out, since I've already done those in a couple different flavors, would be probably the Death Knell. Again, we got to go to the huge bases, and just a fun model that you can just all of a sudden do all sorts of things with. I actually like what our good friend there, Jeffrey, did, and it's one of our banner pages, is like Mardi Gras style Death Knell.
Mm.
Which I think he's repainted since then. But
yes.
Yeah.
Fun
fact about that, you're talking about Jeff Zach, right? That plays Grymkin. So
Yep.
I was telling Jeremiah this before you got into the Discord and before we started recording. Fun story about Jeff's Grymkin. When I got out of playing Grymkin, I sold half of my Grymkin to Brett Cordell, who used to be part of the community. And then the rest of it, I ended up trading to Jeff like a while later. And then when Brett got out of the game, Brett sold a bunch of his Grymkin to Jeff. So Jeff, in a roundabout way, ended up getting the majority of my Grymkin. So that Death Knell that he has repainted used to be mine.
That's funny.
Along with a lot of his other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
What would you want to paint, Jeremiah?
I was gonna choose Old Witch, but in all honesty, that model sort of intimidates me. I don't think I have the chops to do it quite yet.
Yeah.
Second most interesting model to me is the Child. I really like that model.
Yeah.
And
it was a lot of fun to paint.
Yeah, and I think I could do that one better right now.
Yeah.
So hey, speaking of painting, let's move on here. What's on your hobby desk? What are you building? What are you painting?
Oh, I'm trying to massively get through with the good weather of what I can, priming up a lot of convergence, and realizing how much of my convergence needs repair, which really sucks on a lot of convergence models.
Yeah.
Little fiddly bits. And then getting some clear coating done as well. I had actually had a new can of clear coat because I couldn't find mine. Went to take the cap off and the nozzle was busted, so I couldn't use it. So I was a little disappointed for a while. But I found my other can when I was doing some other cleaning, and so just got all my Monpoc that I recently painted clear coated, and then got a little bit more work on my MCP Hulk and Vision, and so those are good enough to be done. So got a few hours in.
I saw you post some of your Crisis Protocol stuff.
Yeah, recently. It's been really fun to paint. It kind of just flows well to be painted, actually.
Yeah. I've actually managed to get a bunch of painting done recently. I've been working on my Warhammer 40K backlog of stuff, so I finally finished my 30 Poxwalkers.
Nice.
I got the other 12 Plague Marines that I had done, a couple extra Terminators that I had, a Typhus, a Chaos Lord, my Demon Prince of Nurgle, that's like the actual model, Malignant Plaguecaster are all done. And then a fun little project that I was working on was, because I played Death Guard and my first model was Cypher, I had bought a couple boxes of Fallen a long time ago and painted them up and stuff. But I worked on converting a couple of the easy to build Primaris into Fallen. So not long ago, I green stuffed for the first time. I green stuffed some cloaks onto the models, tried to smooth them out as best as I could. It didn't turn out super great, but not bad for a first attempt, having never done it before and not having any like appropriate tools to like sand them down and smooth them out and stuff like that. But the other day I primed and painted those up, so they matched the rest of my Fallen, and they turned out pretty good for being a first attempt. So I was really happy with how those guys turned out, and they were a lot of fun to paint.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, I saw you posted those pictures, and yeah, they look just fine.
Yeah, Yeah, the fronts of them look pretty good. It's the backs like underneath the backpacks where it's cracked a bunch, or like it didn't quite get smoothed out. There's a lot of like fingerprint ridges and stuff, but from the front they look great, and I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, those guys are fun because the cloaks I did in Mount White highlight, and then I did a sepia wash, so it looks like really dirty, kind of pale white cloth. And then their armor is all coal black, so it's kind of a nice dark armor, and it contrasted to these like dirty, tattered robes that they still wear.
That's a good color, that coal black color.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I use it probably more than any other paint.
Nice. Well, I got my button gear, and I have officially gone through all of my Scorn, and I have organized all of my bits, and started to make a lot of repairs. And Laura had gotten me one of those like organizers. It's like a, I don't know, 12-inch by 12-inch, and it's got like slots for things. And so in my organization, I found models that were incomplete, and I gathered up all of their pieces, and I put them in the slots. And so basically it's become like a project box. And so like I'll just pull out this guy and attach his arms, and doom, he's done, you know what I mean, or whatever. But I'm really excited to be organized. We've been slowly putting our house back together since getting new floors and painting and stuff. And it's just nice seeing those boxes disappear, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then for some of the hobby boxes to disappear and be organized seems pretty cool. So but there's something else that's cool is, you know, with all of the social distancing and things that are going on right now, we're just not really seeing each other, and it's really hard. But there's someone who's in one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of, is doing a project for school where the point of the project is to engage the community and to do something positive for the community. And so he just outlined 4 weeks, 3 models a week, and he'll do all of the tracking and reporting because it's a project that he's doing for school. And so a bunch of us in the group decided to sign up for that. And you know, we're all looking for motivation, and we're all looking for encouragement. And so I'll resume some painting this week, which I'm looking forward to. So I have some ideas of things that I've been wanting to do and just haven't had time or space, but I'm starting to have time and space.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, let's wrap up this episode. I want to say thank you to all of our listeners for listening. We're not meeting in person, and so we don't have all of our good recording equipment that we normally use. And so there's a couple incidents on this episode where we kind of bugged out a little bit, and that's just from us recording over Discord. But we value you, and we thank you for being part of our community. And we're going to keep recording and telling good stories, and the whole goal is for us to inspire you to play more. And so when all of the social distancing stuff is lifted, get out and say hello to all the friends that you miss, because I miss all of you. Oh.
And if you're looking for some inspiration of doing some hobbying or painting or anything, this has kind of been a big craze on the internet recently. Is a couple days ago, Henry Cavill,
that's right,
movie star, posted a picture of him painting a Custodes model. So, and he talked about, you know, something that he wasn't really able to follow just because he's been busy, but like, you know, shooting movies and stuff. But like during this whole quarantine, he's refining some old skills, and he's always enjoyed the game, but never followed it a lot. And he's taking the opportunity to work on painting models and stuff. And that's
right.
It's super cool to see somebody else, you know.
I just might put on one of his movies while I paint.
Of course, Superman plays the Superman of Warhammer 40K world.
Of course, I would expect nothing less. Well, once again, thanks for listening. If you want to support our show, tell your friends. Like us on Facebook, and if you want to be part of the conversation, join us on Discord. You can find the links for all of those things on our website at spellstormminiatures.com. Have a good night, folks.